What are you doing? You almost hit me.
You've just pulled out on me.
Where's your proof?
Let's take a look, see what we get in the box of the Crosstour car recorder CR250. On the front of the box it says it's 1080p full HD. We got a 170-degree wide angle lens on there. We've got G sensor and we've also got motion detection. We have the user manual. We get the cigarette car charger. The output is 1.5 volts, 0.6 amps. You get a very, very long cable and you also get a spare USB port as well. So you can plug an additional cable in there if you wish. The long cable is actually fixed in place in the cigarette lighter, so we can't remove that. You do get yourself an additional cable. It is a mini USB cable. Now, I've never seen one of these before.
What the hell are you?
I presume this is to get the dash cam down if you need to remove it from your window screen. We also get ourselves a couple of sticky mounts as well, so we can attach the dash cam to the window screen. And we've got the dash cam itself. So we have a power button, we got an up arrow, we've got this middle button as well, we've got a down arrow, and I presume that's possibly the options button. We have record in the top left. We should have a pair of lights and we have a mic as well for the microphone. On the side there is the microphone. We have the mini USB connection which allows us to charge the dash cam up. We have the lens on the front. If you do purchase one of these, make sure you pull this little plastic off the front as well, which we'll do now, else your image is going to look shockingly bad. On the other side we've got a slot for a micro SD card which allows you to store your footage. We've also got a reset button if you do come across any issues and you do need to reset the device. We have a small screen on the front. I believe it's 1.5 inch. You can move the camera around as well. So once this is fixed on your window screen, you can move this up and down till you get into a position where you can see the road and everything in front. Or you can do it in the back of your car if you wish. This doesn't need to be used as a front-facing camera. You can put this as a rear camera. And what we'll start with is we'll put a micro SD card in there. So it's a Toshiba 32 gig micro SD card. And what we'll do is we'll plug our battery pack into the dash cam just so we get some power and we can quickly run through the options on there. So once it's connected, you don't need to press anything. It will automatically begin recording like it has now. So that is currently recording at the moment. It's recording 1080 full HD. So let's stop the recording. Press it again, that will begin recording again. Let's press the button on the right hand side, which gets us into the options menu. So we'll quickly run through the menu so you've got an idea what you can do with the dash cam. So we've got resolution. Let's go into there. So we've got 1080 at full HD, we've got 720p, or we have VGA. Next one down, we can loop the recording. So after every 3 minutes, it's going to snip that file and it's going to start a new file. You can turn that off, so you just have one big massive file. But you've got the options of, you can turn it off, you've got 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. We have the WDR option. It's on by default, but you can turn that off if you wish. I believe if you drive during the night, it's best to have that turned on. I believe you get better image quality. We have exposure, so we can make the image brighter. We can make it darker, so we can go up to +3 and all the way down to -3. We got motion detection. If you want it to film whenever you're in the car and you're driving around, it's best to leave that off, which means it's going to be recording all the time. If you turn motion detection on, if there's literally no motion, it's not going to record. So if you're sitting in your vehicle, let's say in a parking space somewhere, and you've got this switched on, it will not record unless it detects motion, for example, a car going past or somebody walking in front of the vehicle. It's got the microphone symbol, so we're presuming now that is to record the audio. So I think it's best to leave the audio on. Next one down, we have timestamp. This is where once your file has been recorded and you play it back, it's going to give you the date and the time on there. You can turn it off, but once again, it's probably best to leave that on. We have G sensor, we have off, we have low sensitivity, medium sensitivity, or high sensitivity. This is basically that if you're sitting in your vehicle and your car takes a knock, you want this to actually pick up that your car's been bumped and to save the file. But quite a lot of this may be trial and error, so you might need to actually test this a little bit and leave it on low sensitivity, maybe just knock into your car. Obviously don't damage your car, but bump into your car and see if it actually records a file. And the next one we have is parking monitoring. We've got either off or on available for that. Our next option is headlight warning. Once again, we've got off or on, and that has gone through that selection of options. There is actually another set of options, so if you press this options button on the right hand side, we get these additional options as well. So let's quickly run through these. So we have time and date. Obviously you can set your time and date on there. If we come back, we have auto power off. This is for when the dashcam is not recording. So if you leave it for a minute at the moment, which is the default setting, the dashcam will automatically turn itself off. You can change that to 3 minutes, or you can turn it off so it's permanently switched on. We have beep sound, which is currently set as off, but if we turn that on, if we go through the options, you can hear the sound. Let's knock that back off. We have language, so you've got various different languages that you can select on this dashcam. We have frequency, we can either go 50 Hz or 60 Hz. We have a screensaver. This is when you're driving, your screen will turn itself off after 1 minute. That doesn't mean to say that it has stopped recording. It will still be recording footage. It's just that there's no display on the screen when you're driving. You can turn that off. You can turn it off after 1 minute, or you can turn it off after 3 minutes. We have a license plate number. We can select off or on for that. If we turn it on, you can start putting a license plate number in there. We have format. This is the format of the memory card that's in there at the moment. So if we select OK on that, that is going to wipe all the information off the memory card. We have default settings. So if you selected some settings in there and you're not happy with it, you can go back to the factory defaults. We have version, which tells you which firmware your dashcam is running on. So at the moment we're on version 2.1.0.1, and that is it. The specifications of the dashcam say you can only have a 32 gig class 10 memory card in there, but we've got a 128 gig Samsung Evo memory card. So let's put that in and let's see if we can actually record onto the dashcam. And as you can see there, we've got a 128 gigabyte memory card in there, and it seems to be recording fine. And all that's left to do now is to test out the Crosstour dashcam, and let's see how it performs. And this is the kind of quality you can expect at 1080p. In this video, this is what the audio sounds like through the microphone. And we've turned the audio off now because we don't want to get any copyright strikes on YouTube. This is still running in 1080p during the daytime. You get a little bit of glare that's coming in from the sun. Image quality looks pretty decent. For a dash cam that costs just over £20, it's very, very good quality, especially in the daytime. We've now moved over to 720p. This has been scaled up slightly due to this video being filmed in 1080. And this is the VGA setting. As you can see, the quality is not very good at all on VGA. You'd only really use this if you're trying to save space on the memory card. And now we move over to the nighttime footage. This is back at 1080p. Once again, it does a very, very good job for such a cheap dash cam. You may struggle when it comes to trying to recognise registration plates from passing vehicles, but if you were involved in a collision, this dashcam would definitely pick it up. We've moved over to 720p now. Once again, the image quality is reasonable, it's pretty good. Once again, you'll only really use this setting and the VGA setting if you're trying to save space on the memory card, but you don't really save that much, so it's probably best to keep your settings at 1080p when using this dashcam. And this is demonstrating the VGA settings during the night. Once again, the image quality looks very grainy. I wouldn't really expect anybody to use this setting. Now we've gone back to 1080p. Now we've knocked the exposure down to -1 to see if we can see any difference in the image quality. And this is using the exposure set to -2. Once again, we're still running at 1080p. We have adjusted the camera slightly in the car just to see if we can eliminate some of the glare from the lights. And when we compare the Crosstour dashcam with the Vantrue R2 dashcam, it performs really well. It holds its own against the Vantrue dashcam, which was purchased around a year ago, and it was around the £85 mark. The Crosstour camera does perform remarkably well considering its £20 price tag. And here are our final thoughts on the Crosstour dashcam. For a dashcam that costs around the £20 mark, it performs extremely well, but I haven't seen a dashcam that's really performed bad during the day. It's normally the nighttime footage where you can tell where the better, more expensive dashcams come in. And for £20, this does a really good job at night as well. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as a £100 dashcam, but for £20, it's not bad. There's quite a few features on there. You've got the license plate feature, which for the average consumer, you probably wouldn't really use that. I imagine that's more for companies who've got quite a few of these dash cams and they put them in a fleet of vehicles so they can tell which footage belongs to which vehicle. The one massive issue I've got with the dash cam is the sticky pad on the back. You get 2 of these sticky pads, but did you see how easy that was to peel off there? I put the first one on, we began filming the review, and when I came back the next morning, the dash cam was on the ground in the car. So we tried the second sticky pad, and we done another day, exactly the same thing. So literally, we went through 2 sticky pads on 2 days. You do get this slot on the back, so I'm quite certain you can purchase an additional mount for this, which will do a much better job, but should you really have to? So that's the only real major issue I've got with it. Good thing about the dashcam as well is that it claims that it takes 32 gig micro SD cards. When we put the 128 gig Samsung card in there, it worked fine and recorded with no issues at all. Something weird I noticed as well is regardless of the length of the video, so for example, when I film 1080p, if I film for 5 seconds or 3 minutes, the file size is exactly the same, which doesn't really make much sense. If you're looking at a dashcam like this, I always recommend going for the highest settings that you can get on there, which in this case is 1080 full HD. The 720p looks decent, a little bit grainy. I wouldn't even attempt going with a VGA if you purchase this. And with regards to file size as well, there's not a massive difference between the 1080, the 720 and the VGA. If you film in full HD for about 30 minutes footage, it's going to use up roughly around 4.3 gig of space, so you want to make sure you've got yourself quite a good size micro SD card installed. Quite disappointed with the sticky mounts. They don't do a very good job when it comes to sticking to the window screen. If Crosstour has sorted that out with this dash cam, you're onto an absolute winner, and I probably wouldn't recommend anything else for £20 other than the Crosstour dashcam. And all that being said, the star rating on the Crosstour dashcam will be 8 stars out of 10.